How you doing? This is a special kind of video that I was asked by somebody a couple of weeks ago to do a video on this. So as you know, I'm trying to learn Hebrew, and as I was looking through all the alphabet for the Hebrew alphabet, I just kept on seeing God. I kept seeing Jesus, like in the word shalom. There's a broken vav, and the rabbis say that there will be a man that becomes broken to bring Israel peace, and that's what shalom means. And as you look through all the letters of the Hebrew alphabet, you see God. You see God relating to mankind. But Alpha, that's Greek. Aleph, Aleph, um, is something that it just blew my mind. So Aleph shows up in many that letter right there, that letter that looks like kind of like an X. When you look at the divine names of God, a lot of those names start with a Aleph. Now, the Aleph is considered the father of the alphabet. That's what the rabbis call it, the father of the alphabet. It's the first letter of the alphabet. Now remember, Jesus said, I am the beginning, I am the first, I am the last, I am the Alpha, I am the Omega. If he was speaking Hebrew, he would say, I am the Aleph. I am the Aleph. Now, the Aleph is the first letter of Elohim. It's the first letter of, I believe, El, Eli, like Adonai. It's the first letter in many of the names of God. And so there's an argument out there that Aleph represents the presence of God. The presence of God. I want to show you something I thought was pretty interesting as I have been learning about this letter. So in Hebrew, each letter has a number associated with it. This is called gematria, and each letter has a number that's representative of. Aleph has the number one. It represents the number one, or it has the value of one. It also has the value of 1,000. And then the next letter, Bet, will have the number representative of 2. The next one, 3. The next one, 4. So each letter in the alphabet has a number that's representative of it. It represents a number and it represents a letter. It also represents a image. So Aleph represents a ox. It also represents strength. It represents leadership. An ox, leadership, and strength is what Aleph represents. I didn't make this stuff up. It's just how the Jewish people and the rabbis that's what they say this letter represents. And we can go even farther and deeper, but later on I will tell you more about it. But what I wanted to show you first is Genesis 1:1 in the Hebrew. Genesis 1:1 has exactly six Alephs throughout Genesis 1:1. And according to what the rabbis say, is that it's representative of 6,000 years. Remember, there's a teaching out there that after 6,000 years, the Mashiach arrives. He comes and he rests for 1,000 years with in Israel on the throne. And we get that from Revelation. Jesus comes back to the earth and there's a 1,000-year reign. And so Jesus returns on, at the end of the 6,000 years, or the Mashiach returns at the end of the 6,000 years, and then for 1,000 years, for the 7,000 years, there's rest, just like the Sabbath. So there would be rest for 1,000 years, or rest on the seventh day. But the Aleph represents the number 1,000. And then in Genesis 1:1, you got 6 Aleph, so that's 6,000. Kind of interesting. I'm not saying that there's a teaching there. I'm not saying that it was purposely done. It was purposely done. That verse was purposely written, but there's 6 of them. Each one has a gematria of 1,000. So I thought that was pretty interesting. How Genesis 1:1 pretty much tells you the timeline, 6,000 years. I thought it was interesting. I wanted to bring it up. I thought this was pretty interesting too. This right here. So the Aleph have some different versions of it, how you can write it. And that's one version of how you can write the Aleph. It's called the Tav Iri, or I can't say it, the Tav version. And it's like an ancient version. Well, if you remember the solar eclipses that went over the United States, it kind of, I'm not saying it looks like that. I'm saying that people were pointing out the fact that the uh the old version, the ancient version, it kind of looked like all those solar eclipses. It made the same shape. Now we go backwards, right? Let's go back to what I just said. The Aleph represents the presence of God. The Aleph is in a lot of the names for God. So I would argue that God himself was using the solar eclipses to mark the United States of America with his presence, or with his name, almost like to say this nation is mine. I thought that was pretty interesting. I wanted to point that out. There's so much more that I can talk about with this letter, but this is the most that I prepared for. But I gotta admit, this is interesting, and then we can talk about the actual Aleph. If I remember correctly, I don't want to say it, but I do want to say it. The top part, so you see it says foot, leg, not face. If I remember correctly, what the rabbis say is that the top part, face, is representative of heavenly things, heaven and God and the angels. It's all heavenly things, what's above. And then the bottom part where it says not is representative of what's below, and it's all connected together. And I probably said that the wrong way. If you think I said that the wrong way, you can go ahead and make a comment. But that's a very interesting letter. But I just wanted to come do that video real fast. Later on, when I understand more about how all this works, and I understand how to make a PowerPoint, I will do an actual Bible study of all the Hebrew letters. But I don't know. I'm still learning this stuff. Like I'm a student of the Hebrew language right now. But I thought that was pretty cool. God bless you, and I hope you have a great week.